Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And I feel like I have pretty well caught up to all of the stitching that I had paused for a little bit while I was working on Dewdrop Daisies. So I feel like we're back to our regularly scheduled program finally. So it feels really good to get back on track, and there's a pretty good chance that I might end up uh, having it go off rails again. Not necessarily how often I'm filming, but what I'm actually stitching, because I've got this inkling to start a new project and also finish off some of the Christmas stitching that I'd started, I guess, the end of last year, very early this year. So, anyway, let's get into the stitching, catch up on what I've actually been working on, and go from there. The first project that I have to share with you is a piece called Pelicans, designed by Country Threads. And this is what it'll look like when it's done. I have stitched so many of Fiona Jude's designs. I absolutely love her designs. And I mean, these are just a small sample of what she's created over the years. And to help put everything into context, Pelicans, the reason why I'm stitching Pelicans is because of the AFL Stitching Challenge that I'm doing. We're currently up to round 13 of about 24 rounds, and it's pretty exciting in the sense that Pelicans I have assigned to a team called Sydney Swans. I am very much a supporter of them, and the really exciting thing is that they're at the top of the table at the moment after 13 rounds, or when in the 13th round, so after 12 rounds at least. And they're going to be playing this afternoon, and fingers crossed they win. I'm 90% certain that they will, and the 10% of me is a little bit doubtful because they are playing against a strong team, the Geelong Cats. However, the Geelong Cats are sitting a little bit further down the table. There's about 18 teams in the whole AFL structure, fixture. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, the point is, I'm 10% doubtful because the Cats are a strong team. They've had hoodoo over the Swans in years gone by, in recent years. So that's where I really, really do hope that Swans go well. And they should, because it's a home game for them. Sorry, I keep whacking a part of my setup. So I'm just going to try and move it out of the way. I talk a lot with my hands, not in a sense of sign language or anything like that. I am probably expressive. That's a better way to put it. I am expressive with my hands, and that's part of where I should sit on my hands sometimes. Anyway, let's get back to cross stitch. This is the whole point of it. So this is where I'm up to with Pelicans. Last week Swans had a bye, so they didn't play, and so the stats that I'm giving you are from rounds 11 and 12 and a little bit of round 13. And in round 11, Swans scored a total of 102 points, which enabled them to win the game. And I'm stitching this on 14 count Ada. I don't remember what the colour of this fabric is, but it feels like a treat to work on 14 count, because so many of my projects now are on some kind of linen. They're on Jobelan or something else that isn't 14 count. And I think I've got some other pieces here that might be, say, 16 or 18 count, most likely 18. So it feels like a treat. I feel like I can relax when I'm stitching on the 14 count. Okay, so enough of my ramblings with the Pelicans and the AFL. What I'm going to do is move on to the next project, which is to do with the Fremantle Dockers. And because I finished the Dewdrop Daisy, I've now switched in to my rotation another one of my designs, which is called Comparison is the Thief of Joy. And if I can get this, yeah, there we go. So this is, I guess, a mock-up of what the piece will hopefully look like when it's done. And I'm currently stitching the model for it. Comparison is a Thief of Joy is available for purchase on my Etsy store and the hot cross stitching website. So if you're interested in any of the hot cross stitching designs, definitely go check out the Etsy store or my main website. And yeah, let me know if there's any adjustments that you need with any of those charts as well. I'm happy to work with anyone for that. So this is where I'm at for Comparison is a Thief of Joy, and I've put a total of 216 stitches into this for rounds 11 and 12. I believe that Fremantle won round 13. I can't remember. We are halfway through round 13. It is also noting that it is the June long weekend here in Australia. Monday is the King's birthday holiday. I don't know when his official birthday is, but at the moment, hey, we get a public holiday. It's all cool. So this is where I'm at so far. The interesting thing for this piece is that I am stitching this on 29 count easy grid fabric, and I didn't know that we could even get 29 count fabric of any kind, whether it be linen, Ada, or I guess Ada doesn't quite go into those small accounts, high accounts. But yeah, anyway, I didn't know we could get 29 count. I guess, yeah. Anyway, all is good. And so I'm stitching this 1/1, and I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see, however, if I can get the grid lines to wash out. I guess I'll worry about that when I get to it. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is mostly a finish. I'm when I can get my words right, I'm contemplating finishing it as is or adding some extra details to it. So this next piece is one of my own designs. It is called I Run These Towns, and this is part one of a series that I'm creating that's inspired by running, really. And I guess I've not been inclined to search for any fitness activity themed cross stitch patterns, but I know that there's a lot of us out there who are interested in stitching or cross stitch, what have you. But we're able, up mobile, moving and that kind of thing, or we have friends and family who are runners. So this is, I guess, my take on some of the different sayings, themes, and such that sit around running, and a little bit to do with my own experiences as well. So this is, I guess, my finish for now. That's probably the best way I can put it. And this was stitched on linen. It, I think, was 28, or it could be 25. I'm not 100% certain on what count the fabric is. I've definitely got it all folded up just to really help show just how beautiful this is. With the skyline here, the skyline was inspired by a picture from Canva. I do have a pro membership with Canva for the hot cross stitching component of my work, and I stitched the skyline. I think the skyline was meant to be inspired by the New York skyline, perhaps. And I stitched this using the threads from the Gilmore Girls Stitching Retreat. One of the boxes from there, the thread was created by Colour and Cotton and inspired by Rory's formal dress. So it's got a really subtle variegated dark blue. And then the words, I run these towns, it was stitched again from one of the threads that we got from the Gilmore Girls Stitching Retreat that was organised by the Black Needle Society. And it was Colour and Cotton, again, who dyed the threads. And I think by memory, the lighter blue is called I'm All In, which is inspired by a scene where Lorelai and Luke go on, I guess, one of their first official dates, and they're waiting for the meal to come, and Luke says to Lorelai, "Look, I'm all in. I'm fully dedicated to this relationship and making it work." And Lorelai just sits there. She doesn't respond, which I think she ends up kicking herself for it. But again, that's just what these two the colours are. And what I'm aiming or thinking, considering charting as well for this piece, is stitching underneath the skyline the different distances that runners participate in. So the key distances are 5K, 10K, half marathon and full marathon. So that would be 21.1 kilometers for the half marathon, and then 42.1 kilometers for the full marathon. And that's where I'm then thinking of, if I'm inclined to, framing it up or stitching a border as well to have footprints, like human barefoot footprint things going around the border, or perhaps even better would be like the soles of your shoes, like the one of those sort of patterns kind of thing. That I'm not finding my words really well on that. I'm part way through my second coffee. So again, it's a bit of a work in progress. So that's why it's a finish for now. And I had attributed this I Run These Towns piece to the team Carlton Blues. And I've got some different ideas about which project I'm now going to sub in place of this finish for now. Watch this space. I do have some thoughts and ideas of what I may end up stitching in place. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you. That said, let's get on to the next piece of stitching. So the next piece that I have to share with you is called Pisces, and I have it assigned to the team Port Adelaide. There are two teams in Port Adelaide, and I wanted to call them Port Adelaide Crows. And if there was anyone here who is a big fan of AFL, and especially if you're a fan of or a supporter of the Adelaide Crows or Port Adelaide Power, I'm so sorry for offending. No means on that case. My reasons for saying that is that each team, they have their dedicated followers, and of course there's always the banter that can happen between all the teams. And for me to get the combined names with Port Power and Adelaide Crows, it's not a good thing. So this is where I I still need to have some more coffee, I swear, and wake up and get my thoughts in order. Anyway, my point is with Port Power, their team colours are teal, silver, and black. They're the key colours. And so this is why I have Pisces assigned to that team for stitching. And I'll get this rotated around. This is roughly what it'll look like when I'm done. And as you can see, the key colour, or one of the striking colours that draws my attention in, is this teal colour that we see for the Pisces symbol in astrology. And Port, they won their game in the 11th round by memory. They lost last week. They have a bye this week. And I have put 107 stitches roughly into this piece. So this is where I'm at now. And as I'm putting work into where the fishes are and such, I'm loving seeing the colours coming to life, and it's making it a lot of fun. I am stitching this 2/2, so 2 DMC threads over 2 fabric squares, and I'm not going to have enough fabric to fit all of this on as far as the width is concerned. So this is where I get to be a bit creative and figure out how I'm going to make it work. The good thing is that with this Pisces design, it is my own design in the sense that I had initially come across a picture of the Pisces fish that I absolutely love the colours of, and I then combined it with a quote that I think can be quite fitting for Pisces, but it could also be quite fitting for many people, regardless of your astrology sign or whether you think astrology is hoodoo or anything along those lines. So it says Pisces. Not everyone gets the same version of me. One person will tell you I'm a beautiful soul. Another will tell you I'm a cold-hearted arsehole. Believe both. I act accordingly. So, pardon me. So that's that. The next piece that I have to share with you is to do with the Giants, not Gold Coast. I am getting my head so muddled. There is a team from the Gold Coast, but they are the Gold Coast Suns, and it is the GWS Giants, Greater Western Sydney Giants. That is a team that is up next with regards to the stitching piece that I have to share with you. And let's find the cover piece for it and get into it. Okay, so the cover page for the GWS chart that I'm stitching, I've assigned the Heaven and Earth design a Stitch in Time artwork by Amy Stewart to the GWS Giants, and it was largely to do with the autumn shelf that we see along here, and it's all to do with the colours that I've assigned to the GWS rather than anything else, because I could have gone down the fairy tale theme of giants and all of those sort of stories, but I thought, no, this time I'll go with the colours instead for the team. And with the Giants, they were tipped to being like the bee's knees in terms of winning the flag for this year, and there's still a possibility for them to do it, but there's just something happened halfway through the season where it's like they're losing their mojo. That said, this is where I'm at for the stitching, and I have put, what have I put? I've put 78 stitches into this piece. Last week the Giants had a bye, then they played yesterday. They lost the game, which was really disappointing. I can't even remember who they were playing against. can't remember, but the point is that they had a tough game. They had a tough game. I've got my notes next to me that each week I jot down which teams I think are going to win, and I then jot down which project is associated with that team. So it just makes it easier for me to then jot down what the winning score is. So this is an example of how I keep track of each round, and then when I have actually stitched the minimum amount of stitches I need for each piece, I then have a colour pencil, mark it off, and all the crossing outs that we see here is how many teams I've actually gotten wrong for round 12. So it's round 13 is starting to feel a little bit like that as well. But we'll get there. I'll get there. It's all a bit of fun. So yeah, only 78 stitches for this piece. So I'm going to need to figure out another way that I can get more stitches done into this if GWS start dropping out and not being as competitive as what they initially started out to being. I hope they can get there because they are they they are Sydney based. But what I'm getting at with here is that when we are watching the AFL, the commentators are all Melbourne based. Many of them are ex footy players, which means that when the team they used to play for is playing and they're commentating on that game, they are renowned for barracking for the team, and understandably to an extent. But here in Australia, we kind of get annoyed when the commentators are barracking really hard for one of the teams, and we near expect them to be neutral, to just call the game, to add in any extra comments or anything similar about the game that could be interesting as a bit of light-hearted banter, entertainment, what have you. It just gets a bit much, but at times it can add excitement to the game as well. Where I'm leading with this is when there are non-Melbourne based or Victorian based teams who are doing well in the AFL and are pretty close to getting into the grand final or are going to end up in the grand final, then it is exciting because it just stirs the pot. It's just that light-hearted banter that goes with it not being a Melbourne team that could end up winning the flag. So it's exciting in that sense for the people who live outside of Victoria to have a non-Victorian based team win. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's get back into the stitching, and I'll grab the cover page for the next piece and we'll get into it. The next piece that I have to share with you is a design by Randall Spangler. It's been charted by Heaven and Earth Designs and it's called Trick or Treat 2. This piece, I very much admire the artistic work of Randall Spangler, and with this particular piece, I am stitching this on 18 count Ada, and it is going to look a little bit different to the original design because of the chart that I'm using. So that's just a little bit of a heads up there. I am stitching this 2/1, so 2 DMC strands over 1 fabric square, and I have this piece assigned to the Essendon Bombers. They only won their game in round 11, so I'm just focusing on rounds 11, 12 and a little bit of 13. So I've put 86 stitches into this piece and I'm looking forward to filling in the rooftop here a little bit more because I'm getting just a little bit over the blue. That said, when I do start working a little bit more on the green, I know I'm going to be very happy to move on to the next lot of colours. So that's that. The next piece that I have to share with you is called Halloween Treats 2, and it is designed by Tilton Crafts, and I've started in the middle for this piece, and I'm going to pause for a moment, find the cover page, and get back to it. Okay, so this will roughly be what it'll look like when it's done. Now, you'll recognise this piece from the Stitch With Me that I did a couple of weeks ago, and this is where I'm at so far. I'm stitching this on, this could be 25 count Joberlin. I'm not 100% certain, but I do enjoy stitching on this fabric. There is just something about the way this has been created that just makes it so much easier to stitch on compared with some of the other fabrics that I am working on. I initially started this, stitching this 2/1 just because of the coverage and such, but I've now switched over to doing 1/1 and I'm liking it a bit better because I found stitching at 2/1 was just getting a bit too bulky and a bit awkward to stitch, and I have needed to fudge things just a little bit around the numbers 31 because I miscounted and I had missed, not missed, as part of not counting properly, I had stitched certain colours in the wrong spot. So just getting that sorted out now, but I'm looking forward to seeing more of this piece come to life. And with this particular piece, I have this assigned to the Melbourne Demons, and I've put a total, or minimum rather, a minimum of 100 stitches into this piece. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you, I've actually restarted it, and I'm near contemplating restarting it again, but I don't know if it's going to be worth me restarting it again for the third time. So, to put things into perspective, I have decided to restart a piece called The Reader, which has been a heaven and earth charted piece, and it's designed by Lisa Parker. And this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I had initially started this piece on some 25 count gridded fabric, and I had started in the top left corner, and with the way the reader has been designed, there's about there's majority of the piece is black. That's the best way I can put it. I was trying to figure out how many pages worth of black was in this piece, and it was just not going to be worth me trying to figure that one out just yet. So I've decided to start again in the middle, and it doesn't look like I've really stitched much, but it's about 130, nearly 140 stitches. This is the smaller, if it can focus. I've started in the centre. I don't know if the camera's focusing very well, but I'm stitching this 1/1 on this 28 count black linen, and what I'm not enjoying with this piece is that the fabric is really stiff. And even when I was ironing this fabric out to try and sort of smooth things out to help show you my progress, what the key thing that was going through my mind was I feel like I am trying to iron a really stiff, starchy collar of a shirt. And it's been a very, very long time since I've ever needed to iron a shirt, whether it be for myself or anyone else. And it's just got this really stiff feeling to it. For me at the moment, it's just uncomfortable, and it's almost as bad as stitching on Ada when it's that really stiff Ada. The slight difference with Ada though is that we know that the squares are a little bit larger, so it's easier to work on. I am hoping that with this fabric that the more that I work with it, the more the natural oils from my hands go into this fabric, that it'll just make it a little bit more flexible to work with. I'm really hoping that's the case. The additional awkward thing is that I'm still going to need to stitch some black on black. That will be awkward, it'll be uncomfortable, and I will need to pick my timing just a little bit for when I do that, so I know that my eyes are awake enough to be able to see what I need and ensure that I've got the best possible lighting available. And I'll also make sure I've got like some light fabric, like a light pair of pants on, or a light coloured pillowcase, or some kind of light coloured fabric underneath to help shine through underneath and actually see the fabric squares. So I've got some contingency plans in place, and I'm looking forward to getting more work done into this piece to really see it come to life, because I've started in the middle, and I've started where we see the tarot card that's very close to where the ginger cat is. And I'm not quite sure which card in the deck that one is, but it's where we can just sort of see where some of the purples are for the card, and that's sort of where I'm at the moment. Okay, the next piece that I have been working on is one of my own designs, and it's called the Black and White Rolled Up Daisy. And this is the cover chart. You can also see the page behind me near the light switch. That's the cover page as well. So again, it's available on the Hot Cross Stitching website and my Etsy store as well. I am stitching this piece on 18 count Black Ada, and this is where I'm at so far. I have this piece assigned to the Collingwood Magpies because, as we can see, black fabric and light coloured stitches. So the Collingwood Magpies, their team colours are black and white because of the bird here in Australia is black and white as well. And with the Magpies, they won their game in round 11 and they scored a total of 75 points, and they're also due to play tomorrow. So to an extent, I hope they win, because I would love to be able to put some more work into this piece and get rid of some of the hanging threads that are starting to drive it just a little bit batty. Okay, so the next piece that I have to share with you, I'll just grab the cover page for it and we'll get into it. The next piece that I have to share with you is another hot cross stitching design, and it's called A Life Lived in Fear is a Life Half Lived, which is a Spanish proverb that is inspired from the Australian movie called Strictly Ballroom, a movie that I haven't seen for many years, but definitely one that I have a soft spot for because I just love ballroom dancing. And with this particular piece, this is what the cover page is and what it'll look like sort of roughly when it's done. And I have this assigned to the team called the Hawthorn Hawks. They're starting to pick up a little bit in terms of some of the games that they're winning, which is really good to see. They're not going to win the flag this year, but I hope that they're moving in the right direction to be able to become one of those strong teams again that I've known them to be historically. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. This is where I'm at so far. I am stitching this on 18 count Ada, and this has got a really good mix of confetti and solid block stitching, and I sometimes when I need to sit down and stitch this, it's like, oh, okay, but I've got the bug to really want to work on this a fair bit and actually dedicate some time to it. Um, when I do that, I'm not sure, but maybe when I'm on holidays, like the summer break or something similar to that. So with this particular piece, I have put roughly 207 stitches into it from the last two games that Hawthorn have won. And they also played yesterday and they won their game. And so I need to put another 85 stitches into it. I am glad that the team is picking up a bit. It is a team that my pop supported, and it's really good to see them picking up a bit. I know that if he was still around, that he wouldn't be too happy about Hawthorn not doing well at the moment. But hey, this particular team has been in the league for over 100 years, so they're bound to have their ups and downs. It's all good. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is, again, another piece that you'll have seen in the Stitch With Me that I did a couple of weeks ago, and it is called I Count My Lucky Stars. And I have this piece assigned to the team, the St. Kilda Saints, and I think I've got the cover page up behind me. It's just near the horses. So I'm at the stage where I'm now actually stitching the border around it, and this is a bit more of a close-up of what, again, when I press buttons. This is roughly what it'll look like when it's done, and I've designed this to enable you to stitch it using whatever colours you want, and this is where I'm at so far. And I focused on the leaf that you see up near the letter Y. The leaf and a part of this border is stitched using the DMC thread of 3766 or 3765, somewhere in that number range. And the actual quote that you see, I count my lucky stars every day that you are in my life. This was stitched in the threads of Tequila Sunrise by the Karen Collection watercolors or something very similar to that wording. And my aim with this particular piece is to stitch a part of the border in this DMC thread. When I get around to the side over here, this is going to get unpicked because I'm not happy with how this has worked out. It's the thread that I used for this little section here. It was me testing things out a little bit, and I need to use this particular thread on, say, Ada, or perhaps that really stiff black fabric I was talking about as well. It could work really well, but what I do like about this thread here is that it has a really beautiful silky feel to it. So I'm not sure yet which fabric I'll stitch this on. I am leaning towards stitching with it on, say, 14 count Ada or 18, 16 count, something along those lines. I haven't quite figured out which design I'll use yet. Again, this is what I love about cross stitch, that we've got so many options and so many options and designs available to us to be able to play around and test things out. So I'm stitching this on 25 or 28 count linen, I can't quite remember, but it's turning out pretty cool, I think. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you, I have somehow misplaced temporarily the cover page for it, but it is a really nice, colourful piece. It is a Design Works kit and it's called Zebras. This is where I'm at so far, and I'm excited that I'm now working on the bottom half of this piece. I'm using all of the called for colours and called for fabric that came in the kit, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a joy to stitch on. I have forgotten to actually say that, like sorry, I need to backtrack a little bit. Okay, so what I forgot to mention about this particular piece, I Count My Lucky Stars, is that I have put a minimum of 82 stitches into this piece, and I need to put another 51 into it because the Saints won their game yesterday, and yeah, they won, and their final score was 51. It was a bit of a boring game to watch, I must admit. Yeah, it was a boring game. Anyway, this particular piece is associated with the team, the Gold Coast Suns, and Gold Coast is very much a tourist hotspot. It is summer. To me, it is summer. And it is a place for a lot of the southern states in Australia to travel to during winter, because in summertime, during the winter months, the okay, I need to backtrack. Wasn't paying full attention to what I was saying just then. The Gold Coast is a great place to go to during the winter months here in Australia, especially if you live in the southern states, because the temperatures are comfortable then. Queensland is known for being humid and, to me, uncomfortably hot during the summer season. So it's not for me. That said, I need to put 91 stitches into this piece because, actually, hang on. No, I don't. I have put 91 stitches into this piece because Gold Coast won their game last week. I think they played, actually, no, they probably played yesterday against the Saints, and that's where the Saints won their game, and that's why it was also a really boring game. It was just a low scoring game. It was painful to watch to an extent. That said, the next game of any game will hopefully be interesting. But the next piece that I have to share with you is called The Trio of Dogs. And again, I don't have the cover page with me at the moment. It is a piece that I've very slowly been working on. And this is where I'm at so far. I have it assigned to the team called the Western Bulldogs, and they won their game last week, and I put roughly 100 stitches into this piece. I'm looking forward to getting this one done. It's a lot of browns and such. It is a cute piece. Admittedly, it's a cute piece. So it'll be, again, I'll just be happy to have this finished. And I guess it's a stark contrast between going from the rainbow zebras through to this piece here. But it'll be all right. It's all good. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you, I've just realised I do have the cover page. I haven't brought it with me, but you'll hopefully get the idea of where I'm going with this one. This next piece that I have to share with you is called Four Seasons Cats. It is a Dimensions kit. With the Trio of Dogs, I don't remember who the designers are or such. I had purchased it online many moons ago, and I don't know what I've done with the cover page. I am sure when I next clean up, I will end up coming across it. Anyway, with Four Seasons Cats, I have this assigned to the Geelong Cats, and as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be playing this afternoon, and I'm anticipating that I may need to put some more stitches into this. That said, Geelong won their game last week, and I put roughly 99 stitches into this. I just have this last quarter to go, and it'll be done. Whether it's done this year or not, probably not. It may get done this time next year, hopefully that'll happen. Now, I don't know which season this quarter is actually meant to be, because if you're a long time viewer and you've seen the cover page for this, or you may have even stitched this piece, I can't tell the difference between the spring and summer quarters, because to me they're very similar in terms of the colours, the flowers, and what's going on. So if you're a gardener, you might know that there are some flowers that come out in summer instead of spring, or anywhere in between. It'll be all right. Now, we are getting towards the end. It is pretty much lunchtime for me, so my energy levels are starting to dip a bit as well. So my apologies for the enthusiasm that is slowly dipping just a bit. I do have the next piece to share with you. I'll grab the cover page and go from there. Okay, so the next piece that I have to share with you is designed by Heaven and Earth Designs. Actually, rephrase. It is artwork by Lisa Parker, designed by or charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this one is called His Master's Voice Mini. And again, this is probably a piece that I could have stitched on black fabric, because as we can see, there's just a heap of black surrounding this cat. However, this time around, I have actually started in the centre, and I'm mostly working a little bit around where the cat's paws are and a little bit to the side. And this is where I'm at so far. And for much of a muchness, I am stitching this 2/1 just because of the amount of coverage that I get from it compared with stitching 1/1. And what I've started to do is on the side here where it's just black, I've started doing 10th stitch using 2/1. But even then, when it's 2/1, I'm not happy with that coverage. So I could almost even bump it out to 3/1, but that would just be overkill. So eventually I may stitch back over it and do the full cross rather than a half. That said, I have been working mostly on the paws at the moment, and it is really nice seeing that fill out. I have His Master's Voice associated with the team Richmond Tigers, and I have put 79 stitches into this piece. I haven't done much stitching on His Master's Voice because Richmond have only won 2 games. 2 games. They won their first game against Swans, and then they were nosedive, which was really surprising and disappointing, because I guess disappointing that Swans lost to Richmond, and for Richmond to be doing so poorly this year, especially when it was only a couple of years ago that they won. They won the flag like three times in a row or something, at least twice. That said, last year they had a couple of their star players retire, and their coach of X amount of years moved on to then coach the Gold Coast Suns. And that's where Gold Coast Suns and why we're seeing the Zebras picture show up so often. And that's where I think the Richmond Tigers, are just regrouping now and finding their feet with a lot of new players and finding their feet with a new coach as well. So we'll wait and see. It is a team that my nan supports, so that's where it's been interesting over the years. The fun rivalry that is between my nan and Pop. Not that we ever really heard much about the rivalry, but whenever Hawthorn and Tigers were playing against each other, I'm sure that would have been quite interesting. So we're getting towards the end. I have one more piece to share with you, and I'm partway through working on it, in the sense that the Brisbane Lions, they played on either Thursday or Friday night, and I've got Fight Like a Girl assigned to the Brisbane Lions because we've got a lion in the cover. Now I'm going to restart or rephrase, and okay, with the way this setup that I've got the camera right in front of me, so I can be talking to you quite well. However, behind the camera, I've also then got the screen that is actually showing what's going on, so I can actually be sure that I'm showing you the right stuff. And the button that I need to click on for turning things off or starting, it's right behind. It's hidden like behind the tripod, so it's making life just a little bit awkward. I had hoped, I'll pause, but I've got the cover page right behind me of Fight Like a Girl. It's designed by Tanya Amity, based on artwork by Elena Shnedkova. And this is what it'll look like when I'm done. So this is where we've got the line from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And that's why I've got this piece associated with the Brisbane Lions. I am stitching this on 18 count Ada. And so yeah, okay, this is where I'm at so far. I've been working on the purple books to fill that in just a little bit. I have stitched about 84 to 85 stitches. I need to still put about 30 odd stitches into it because the Brisbane Lions final score was 114 points. And that's helping a lot with the progress of that piece. So if I'm still umming and ahhing about what to work on when Carlton play the game and they eventually win another game, I may end up working on Fight Like a Girl because Carlton are called the Carlton Blues. Their team colours are blue and white, so with the navy blue fabric and there being so many different variations of blue in Fight Like a Girl that it could work. It could. Now, this is where I'll move on to the next stage. And okay, so if you've made it through so far with me, I have pretty much finished showing everything that I've done with stitching. And now it's a little bit of life update and also still a little bit of crafty stuff as well. So if by chance you're not interested in all that, that's cool. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. And if by chance you have not yet subscribed, liked, all that button pressing stuff, please do, especially if you'd like to see more of my progress with the stitching and hopefully seeing some more finishes and such. But if you are keen to see some haul and see some life updates, hear about some life updates, then stick around because we'll start off with some haul stitching stuff. Yesterday, my boyfriend and I went for a drive down to Mittagong, which on the highway is about an hour south of where we are, and went to the Mittagong's Victoria House needlecraft store. And in the lead up to that trip, in my mind, I was just so adamant that my boyfriend had been with me to Mittagong and especially to the craft store that's there. Like, I know I've been there tons of times over the years with family and friends, yet for some odd reason I thought that he'd been there with me one time and that we'd also gone to the RSL for lunch as well. And in my mind, I was just had convinced myself that that had happened. And when we came in off the highway and were driving through to the area of Mittagong that I needed to be at, Michael was saying, "Nah, not been here." Like even the whole time, whenever we were saying, "Yeah, surely you've been with me. Yeah, surely, surely." He goes, "No, sorry, no, I've not been to Mittagong before. Been to Bowral, no, but not to Mittagong." And so yeah, I don't know why I thought that he'd been to Mittagong with me. And anyway, much of a muchness. The reason why I went to Mittagong was because they stock some of the specialty threads that I wanted to get my hands on to restitch a lot of the Gilmore Girls stitching retreat patterns. So even though I've already stitched summer, spring, and autumn, I haven't stitched winter yet, and I'm in two minds about Winter in Stars Hollow in terms of stitching it as it is in terms of a standalone piece, and then stitching it again in that long row. Now that I have all four charts, and on one hand, I'm actually wanting to stitch them all in a row, and then maybe I'll stitch the Winter and Stars Hollow as a standalone piece. So yeah, I don't know. I'm keen to either way. I'm keen to start Winter and Stars Hollow, and what I've got to show you is the actual specialty threads that I got. So where are we? Okay. So yes, it's the Victoria House Needlecraft store. I've got it in plastic bag, not plastic, paper bag, and it's very close to the microphone. My apologies if your earphones, that sort of stuff. One of the really good things with having Michael come with me is that he's a very tall person. Well, anyone's tall compared to me, but he is significantly taller, where I come up to about here or so on him, depending on what shoes we're wearing or if one of us is or isn't wearing shoes. So his height meant that he was able to actually be able closer reach to some of the Weeks dye works that were up on a at the top shelf, so to speak, or top line of hooks. And uh, I had the patterns with me and a list of the threads that I needed. And the thing that I'm chuckling a little bit here with is this isn't the first time that the Michael's come with me to a craft store, where there's been plenty of times when he's come into the stores with me, and he's sometimes helped me with locating the threads, because the sooner he can help me with finding the threads, the sooner we can move on, because he's not totally interested in crafty stuff. His way of his creative outlet is very much with cooking, and he's a brilliant cook. 90% of the time he does the cooking in our household, and there'll be the occasional time when I will cook, or if neither of us are feeling like cooking, we'll get takeout, or we'll just sort ourselves out in terms of what food we'll eat. And so I can totally appreciate where he's coming from, where I love his patience with being able to wait for me to get myself sorted out with whatever things I need for crafty stuff, or we'll both agree, look, if he's wanting to go and do something, I'll do the crafty stuff, and then we'll come back and meet at a place and time that all works if we're out shopping and all the rest. And we're joking around saying that I'm well overdue for him giving me a list of fishing gear that he's needing to grab off the shelves, and then yeah, I go and grab it or help him with grabbing the things off the shelves. And I said, look, hey, you have every right to put me to task on that, because the amount of times that he's helped me out with that. And we'd already agreed that we'd have lunch at the Mittagong RSL, and that I'd be shouting lunch. And he definitely earned it this time as well, that not that he ever has to earn it in any way of me paying for lunch or dinner or anything. It was the tongue-in-cheek joking around. And with all of that said, I've got the threads here with me, so we're able to get majority of the threads. I think there's still maybe 2 or 3 that I'll need to order online. So the first one I got was the Huckleberry, which is the Gentle Art sampler threads, And I'm actually really glad that I've gotten all of these threads, because as much as I did my best to try and match things up with whatever I had in stash, I love knowing that I'm going to be able to properly do these charts justice, and that I'll be able to use some of these threads in other stitching as well. So I'm really, really excited about that. And the next gentle art thread, and this one I love saying, Tutti Frutti. So this one is a really fun color. I love the color Tutti Frutti. This is awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. The next one is again the Gentle Art sampler threads of Slate. Then the rest I've got are Weeks Dye Works. So let's see. Some of these are pretty cool. And actually one of these, which one is it? So Weeks Dye Works Fathom. It reminds me a lot of the Colour and Cottons thread that I used for the I Run These Towns. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, here we are. Yeah, so again, I Run These Towns, and then the Weeks Dye Works. So this is, yeah, if it just reminds me a lot of that color. It's not exact. It never will be exact, but it just reminds me a little bit of that. So what else did I get? We've got the Weeks Dye Works Fathom. Then we've got Bubblegum, which is pretty cool. So again, I think I did pretty good with finding a color suit close to Bubblegum when I stitched it. We've next got Cantaloupe. This is a really nice, fun orange. I love this. Then what else have we got? We have got Sophia's Pink. Sophia's Pink. I love that variegation. That's really cool. We then have Aztec Red. Then Seafoam. Seafoam is really pretty. I like those colours. Then what else have I got here? Daffodil. I was not expecting Daffodil to have this variegation. It's really cool. And it actually reminds me of the variegated thread that I'm using to stitch one of the, one of the Christmas cards that I'm stitching that's on the dark navy blue. It's very similar variegation. The next one I've got is Lagoon. Oh no, Lagoon. Lagoon and Sea Glass are actually really similar colours. So that's where initially I was thinking, oh, maybe I picked up two of Seafoam, but or Sea Glass, but no, Lagoon and Sea Glass are actually really surprisingly close in colours. It's really cool. Then Blue Heron. Okay, so Blue Heron is reminding me a lot of I'm All In by Colour and Cotton. It's really similar colours. Or if it's not I'm All In, it's Blue Heron is reminding me of some of the other colours that we've had in the Gilmore Girls stitching boxes. Then the next thing, Skinny Dip. Skinny Dip is next. Then also Sky. Sky is reminding me quite a lot of the some of the specialty threads that came through from Colour and Cotton in Gilmore Girls stitching box. Merlot. Merlot. Merlot is a very similar colour to actually two colours I'm thinking of. Merlot's reminding me of Cottage Garden Threads Red, and then actually I think I've got it here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so Merlot is reminding me a little bit of Hugs and Kisses by Cottage Garden Threads. To me they're really similar, and I don't have the other thread with me, but there's also in the Gilmore Girls stitching box as well. The Merlot's reminding me a lot of the variegated red that came in that box. Oof. Okay, so what's next? We also got Crepe Myrtle, Crepe myrtle is really pretty, and I think the colour that I'd initially used to replace this, it hasn't done it justice. So I'm really looking forward to using crepe myrtle in the chart when I get up to it. The next one that I got is robin's egg. Robin's egg. Oh, sorry, I need to grab the box again. Okay, so robin's egg reminds me a lot of another cottage garden threads. Where is it? It's floating around in a different box, but it is just reminding me of a cottage garden threads colour that I have in my stash. Actually, okay, Brindabella threads. This is what I was thinking of. Sorry. Okay, Brindabella threads is reminding me a lot of daffodil. So I think I did pretty good with finding something similar to match the two. So that was that. Okay, what's next? What's next? Blue jeans. Blue jeans again has me thinking of, I guess it could also be similar to I'm all in. But blue jeans is pretty cool. And then last but not least is Poria. I'm not pronouncing this. It's a type of purple nonetheless, a really pretty variegated purple. And that was it in terms of stash. I actually restrained myself really well. I do have a lot of fabric already, so I decided that I'd leave it be and not purchase any more thread. So we then went on to the RSL for lunch at Mittagong, and that was really cool. Actually, I just got it. Okay, so this is a cottage garden thread, and it is reminding me a little bit of, but not quite, a little bit of robin's egg in terms of the colours. That was a lot brighter, or it could be a little bit of huckleberry from Gentle Art Sampler threads. So very similar colours then. So that is in terms of the stash haul stuff. The other thing to catch up on is I participated in my first fun run for a little while here at Wollongong on the 2nd of June, and it's my first fun run returning from injury, and I'm still not feeling 100% fitness wise and muscle wise or anything like that, but I'm really proud of myself for being able to complete the course. It was a 5K fun run, and I know for people out there who aren't into running or anything like that, I know that the words fun and run should never be in a sentence together. I totally appreciate that. And if that is you and you're going, oh my God, stop using those phrases, it's like, no, I love the reaction, please. It's keep reacting the way that you are, keep being you for not enjoying the running and all that. That's totally cool. That's absolutely okay. Uh, I had the goal of completing the course in 40 minutes or less, and the official gun time says that I completed the course in 39 minutes and 17 seconds, and the unofficial time on my watch where I actually pressed the start button just as I crossed the start line rather than when the actual gun went off. I completed it in 38 minutes and 40 something seconds, or no, 20 something seconds. Either way, it was under the 40-minute mark, and I'm super proud of myself for that because I wasn't sure how my body would feel on the day. The weather also was going to have an impact on how things went, because leading up to last week Sunday, the weather had not been great. We'd had quite a lot of rain, especially on Saturday, and it was almost predicted to be similar weather in terms of there being a lot of rain, it being windy, and I was anticipating thunderstorms as well based on what the Bureau of Meteorology had predicted. But thankfully it all was okay. The worst thing about it was the wind being a bit cold, and my body held up all good. I was able to walk to the event and from the event. I didn't have to worry about parking or anything like that, which was really nice. And it was only at the end when I was walking back towards the end, so I might have been maybe a kilometre at the most away from home, where the body was really starting to ache a bit and grumbling at me to go, why on earth did you do this to us? Why? But it was really good. So the this is the finisher medal that for the 5K, and I'm hoping that I can improve my fitness and do the course again. That would be really good, because at least for me as a runner, I want to try and run many of the courses at least twice, just to see how I can see if I've improved. Because if I do other fun runs, like, sure, I can try and improve on the time and such, but each course is different, so it's unfair of me sometimes to compare the times between different courses, because it's comparing apples and oranges, where both are fruit, but that's about it. One would be considered a citrus, the other one, I'm not sure what apples are considered to be. Like, I know they're fruit, but hey, leave a comment if you're knowing that. That's totally okay. And this is where, yeah, I'm definitely keen to improve my health, improve my fitness, because I've gained a couple of kilos since I've not been able to be as active. So I need to knuckle down and build up that strength, build up the fitness, and be kind to myself, in terms of being kind in the way that I take care of myself, and that I eat food that is going to fuel me in a positive way, which means drinking a bit more water. It's a bit cold at the moment, so I'm not inclined to drink as much water as I should be. I'm probably drinking a little bit too much coffee at the moment, which can be good for that energy burst, but yeah, it's that crash down afterwards. It's like, okay, I need my nana nap now. That said, I have the plans of, yeah, wanting to knuckle down now and stitch Winter and Stars Hollow, to then have that nice long line. And I've got the colours, the specialty threads for Winter and Stars Hollow that I'd purchased a little while ago, that I've shared online. I think we're about it now. I think that's about it. So thank you again for bearing with me, letting me waffle on, ramble on, and all the rest. And I will see you all another time. See you in a couple of weeks, everyone.